Hello everyone, and welcome again to Holy Week Art History with me, your host, Ms. Banham. I wanted to make a correction from my last video. I said the painting hangs on the wall of the convent. That, of course, is not correct. It is a mural. It is a wall painting, a fresco that was painted directly onto the plaster of the wall. So, thank you for letting me correct that. Moving on to our second video. Today we are going to be talking about technique. How did Leonardo da Vinci create the Last Supper? And I'd like to start by reading you a quote of his. Listen carefully. Perspective is a most subtle discovery in mathematical studies, for by means of lines it causes to appear distant that which is near, and large that which is small. I wonder if any of you know what kind of perspective painting or drawing this is. The 5th and 6th graders might know because you did one in your distance learning last week. So I'll give you a minute to think and maybe say out loud if you know what it is. If you said it is a one-point perspective painting or a one-point linear perspective painting, you are correct. Good job. Now, Leonardo da Vinci was not just an artist. He was a botanist, he was an engineer, an inventor, a map maker, a musician, and he was a mathematician, and he loved symmetry and balance and numbers. So let's take a look at our painting again so we can talk more about that. Here it is, coming up. Voila. So in terms of symmetry and balance, this side of the painting, of course, we have 6 apostles, counterbalanced by the other 6 apostles on this side. We have 4 wall tapestries hanging here, and on the other side, 4 wall tapestries here. We have a coffered grid-like ceiling with this main part, this main line running right down the center of the painting. So this painting was done, it is in one-point perspective. In fact, it is the quintessential example of one-point perspective. One-point perspective was rediscovered during the Renaissance. It was actually created by a Florentine architect named Brunelleschi in 1415. What is happening when we use one-point perspective? Well, it's employing parallel lines that converge at a single vanishing point, and that vanishing point rests on a horizon line. And Leonardo crafted the perspective in this painting so that our vanishing point comes right to Christ's head, right here, to highlight, of course, the most important part of the composition. So let's take a look. If this is our vanishing point right here at the top of Christ's head, as you can see, all of our angles are coming right to that point. Even if you come from the side of the table, it's going to come up that angle, and this angle too connects here. All of our angles are heading towards that one vanishing point. The horizon line in this case is made up of the shoulders and heads of the apostles, right? Actually, it's right about here at the top. And it comes right here to our vanishing point and then extends to the other side as well. Interesting in this painting, we also, behind Christ, we have a landscape. And we have a true horizon line in the landscape. Of course, a horizon line separates the earth from the sky or the sea from the sky, and it runs right here and makes up part of our horizon line. I also have another slide I'd like to show you that will really point this out to you. Let me pull that up. Not that one. Here it is. Oh, isn't this great? Okay, so you can see our vanishing point here with all of our lines coming toward it, converging on that vanishing point, and then the horizon line is pointed out very nicely for us right here. And let's get back to our other painting. And there it is. Good. Now, while this is a perfect example of one-point perspective painting or drawing, it also incorporates another way of creating a three-dimensional environment on a two-dimensional surface, and that is atmospheric perspective. In atmospheric perspective, an artist takes into account the effects of the atmosphere on what we see. So as things move towards the background in your painting, when you're working with atmospheric perspective, the values become lighter. They might take on a blue or a gray quality. Things in the background will also appear smaller and less detailed. So as you can see here in our background, we have that going on, these blue-gray tones back there. Now, some people think that is just the countryside, it's a lovely landscape. But other art historians actually believe what Da Vinci is showing us here is paradise. Just behind Christ is paradise. And he's telling us that our only way to paradise is through Christ, through his death and resurrection. And what Da Vinci was creating here as well was a halo of light from God and nature around Christ. In the times of the early Renaissance, a halo would have actually been painted above Christ's head. But perhaps Da Vinci was using this natural light to create the same effect, to show us his divinity. The other thing that I want to talk about mathematically is the number 3. Of course, the number 3 has great significance in the Catholic Church. It symbolizes the Holy Trinity. Da Vinci was also using the number 3 in the Last Supper. All of our apostles are in groups of 3. 3 here, 3 here, and 3 there, and finally our last trio right here. Also, if you take a look at Christ in the center of our painting, starting from the top of his head to the right hand, where his hand is extended not just toward the dish, but also toward the wine, going over to his left hand, which is extending to the bread, and back up to his head, we have a perfect equilateral, three-sided, of course, triangle. So the significance of 3s. And of course, there's 3 windows in the background as well. So that's our lesson about one-point perspective and atmospheric perspective in this. I wanted to leave you with one last quote, and I think you mathematicians out there will really like this. It is a quote from Leonardo da Vinci. "No human investigation can be called real science if it cannot be demonstrated mathematically. Therefore, O students, study mathematics and do not build without foundations." So I will leave you with that wonderful quote. Thank you for joining me again. Holy Week Art History, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.